Welcome to the Creator's Journey with the Halfling and the Spaceman. This Halfling can't be here tonight, so we're flying solo with the Spaceman. And tonight we are talking with Marisa Wolf. She is the writer of books in several genres, including fantasy and military sci-fi. Welcome, Marisa.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, glad to have you. So normally the halfling would start off with the first question,
Love
but
it.
the spaceman's up at the mic, so I'm going to take off
Check
with
them
it.
all. I love it.
So, Marissa,
Yes.
tell our audience a little bit about yourself and why and when you decided to start writing.
So the big thing that everyone should know is that I am a second generation nerd. So since I was little bitty, my dad had me in front of Star Wars and Star Trek, and we loved them both equally in our house. And by the time I was 6, I was writing my own genre fiction. And one of them was so good it got laminated. So I joke that like that I've just been chasing that high ever since. It was not that good, but it was cute. So I have been writing since I was little. I love telling stories. I love nerdy things, and so what's more nerdy than writing nerdy things that you love? So yeah, that's it. I'm also in the middle of a mid-lease move. We just emptied our RV. No, we lived in our RV for 4 years, and it was amazing. We just got our stuff out of storage, so I am literally surrounded by a forest of boxes. So if I do go off the rails or start to not make any sense, please know it is because we have been moving and unpacking, and my brain has left the building.
My brain has left the building.
Sounds so much better that way. Yes, thank you.
So, Marissa, what were your earliest fan loves?
Oh man. So Narnia is the first one I can remember. One of my grandparents got me the box set of all the little oh my goodness, it's so wonderful. But the thing that changed my life was Anne McCaffrey's Dragon Riders of Pern. I saw that Michael Whalen, the White Dragon cover in the library, and I took that book out so much I read the cover off of it. The librarian gifted it to me. She's like, we can't give this out anymore. And man, Pern, I wrote fan fiction in Pern for about 20 years. I loved it so much. So obviously Star Wars and Star Trek, as mentioned. I was a big X-Men fan for a long time. I have 7 boxes of comics right off camera right now. And there's one other thing that was really big when I was little. What was it? I don't know. I'd say more recently I fell really hard for Firefly. I know that wasn't that recent anymore, but time math isn't a thing. So
Speaking of Anne McCaffrey,
yes,
did you read The Ship Who Sang and its sequels?
I sure did.
I love those books. I love those books.
Me too. And there's a new one. There's a new one coming out this summer, this coming summer in 26 with Mercedes Lackey.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Awesome.
Very
Awesome
excited.
sauce.
Yeah.
Well, I know what the Halfling and I are doing this summer.
I know, right? That I will be right there with you. So
One of the questions we ask everybody is, did the people around you when you were growing up share or at least somewhat support your fandoms? Or did they kind of, maybe not so much?
So my dad for sure, right? My dad is where I got it from. So he was also a big nerd. And his best friend from high school was a huge, huge supporter of my work. I dedicated my second novel to him because he was just so kind. Like, imagine reading a 12-year-old's fan fiction novel and having nice things to say about it. So he was amazing. All of my nerdy friends were online friends. So we got AOL when I was 12 or 13, I think. So I made some early nerd online friends, several of whom are dear friends to this day. One of whom you have interviewed recently, Casey Azell. So I wrote fan fiction with her for a long time. But I definitely started to go kind of undercover in my personal life with my nerdiness because there weren't a ton of people around who loved it. Like it came out a little bit in college, and then it was maybe the last, I don't know, 15 years that I was like, heck with it. Everyone should know. So, yes, I had a lot of support, not a lot of peer support, I think would say.
I believe you should wear your nerddom on your shoulder. Let everybody see.
Yes, yeah. That's all of
wear,
my shirts now are nerd shirts. So here we are.
wear it like pauldrons on your
That's
armor.
right, right. Well, I do have a little shoulder dragon, so
Oh, a
you
little
know,
shoulder. Well,
yeah, yeah.
there's
There
mine.
it is.
Oh, well, since you're showing the shoulder dragon, we're going to show you Hedrick, the halfling spirit animal.
Oh, I love him. Oh, hi. He's so cute.
Do you get a lot of support in your writing today? How is your community around you as far as, support for you as a writer?
My community is amazing. So my husband is incredibly supportive. He is currently letting me do a 5-year full-time authoring experiment. We see how that goes. He's amazing, especially when I disappear for weeks at a time because I have a deadline. I cannot rave enough about his support. And then I have these two best friends, Melissa Olthoff and Casey Azell, both who have been on your show recently. And we are the Feral Ladies. And their support, I don't know that I would have gotten half of what I got done last couple of years without them. So we have a broader network of amazing authors. But without my husband and those two ladies, I would just be a raving lunatic in the woods, I think. So.
All right, well, let's talk about the Feral Ladies.
Yeah.
Tell all our viewers out
Yes.
there about the Feral Ladies.
Sure. So sometime in 2021, the world was open again and we were going out in places. Right, it was delightful. And I realized that after a year or so of just talking to people on computers, my face just did whatever my face wanted to do. And so every now and then I would be like, people can see me. Like they can see me back. I'm not just looking at them, they're looking at me. Yikes. So I was mentioning to Casey and Melissa, I was like, I feel like I just went feral over the last year and a half. Like I am not fit for society anymore. And they're like, were we ever fit for society? And so we joked that we were feral for a long time, which many people are feral, I think, at this point. Then,
After 2020, certainly.
right. Here we are. We're all just doing our best. And so we decided, you know what? We have so much fun with each other. And when we're at cons, we hear over and over, like, I just love hanging out with you guys. It's joyful and funny, and the cackling, like you can usually find us because of the cackling. Like it's just, people like hanging out with us too because we have so much fun. And we're like, well, let's just put this show on the internet. So every couple of weeks, we get on the internet. Sometimes it's live and full of shenanigans, and sometimes it's recorded and still full of shenanigans. And we talk about our writing journeys, things that we love. We do not believe in bad-mouthing things, so it's really just things that give us a lot of joy or gave us nerd rage because we love them so much, and they could have done the thing and they didn't do the thing, and the thing they did was still great, but so yeah, so we do that a lot. And this past summer, 2025, all three of us had fantasy novels coming out from Baen. And so we decided we wanted to do this feral for fantasy thing. And Baen was super enthusiastic about it. And so we pulled in some other authors with us and just shenaniganed all throughout the year about all of these amazing fantasy books coming out from Baen. So.
Yeah, I don't know who invited us to be part of the Facebook group when you guys launched it, but
Probably
pretty
Melissa.
much
Yeah.
somebody invited us and I joined right away.
Amazing.
So.
Yeah. I mean, look at all of us, right? Like, I love fantasy so much. And there are so many people who are fully feral for fantasy. They'll buy anything because the edges are pretty or because it sounds good. And I love it. I'm in. So.
Well, I love fantasy myself. And the reason I love fantasy is because it scratches an itch that I used to get from the Heinlein juvenile sci-fi novels that I just can't find anywhere anymore.
Yeah.
Everybody who writes sci-fi writes this really it's either really kind of derivative stuff or it is gritty.
Oh.
Spaceman is not gritty.
So I love that grim dark is a thing. I love that gritty is a thing. it is not for me. I am about the joy in stories and things I read. I feel like life is hard, and we can in our stories find joy that maybe we don't always have, or to intensify the joy that we do have. So I love a fun sci-fi. I mentioned this to the Halfling a couple of weeks ago. My debut science fiction solo novel looks like mill sci-fi, starts a little mill sci-fi, but it is fully snarky conspiracy theory. The universe might just have to burn down to get better type story. So yeah, I'm with you. Gritty is not fully my jam.
I understand.
Yeah.
The halfling and I are major geeks ourselves. We get into all the geeky stuff,
Yeah.
and we've each tried our hand at writing, and we both discovered we stink at it.
Oh,
But
that's the only way to get better is to keep doing it. So,
well, yeah, that's true. That's true. I can do that or this. I'd rather do
I mean,
this.
fair, right? Have fun on the internet.
But the thing about it is that we have all of our friends were big Game of Thrones
Oh
fans.
yeah.
And you got to watch Game of Thrones. You got to watch Game of Thrones. You guys will love the Game of Thrones. You guys love D&D. You love all the
Yeah.
Conan. You love all the the fantasy novels from the 80s. You love your this and that and the other thing. You got to watch Oh my goodness. We watched like 3 episodes and it just about made me sick to my stomach with
Oh
all
right.
the
It's
backstabbing and
yeah.
betrayal. And look, I like happy stuff.
Yeah, like I just want the joy. Yeah. I will say one thing that I loved about Game of Thrones. I was traveling a lot for work the year it came out. And I was walking out of the Atlanta airport, going to the little like train that takes you to the rental car thing. And there was a group of very businessy businessmen in front of me, like suits and ties and their briefcases. Like I didn't even know people still had briefcases then. And they were just like walking and walking, and I was like, okay. And then I heard one of them go, "Yeah, but Tyrion doesn't." And I was like, "Are they talking about nerd things right now?" And like I definitely just like eased closer as we were walking to here, and I loved how mainstream fantasy got from Game of Thrones, like because you could have a conversation with almost anybody. Like everyone was less secrety nerdy, and I loved that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good that there are still those kind of mainstream fandom things that people can connect on. Or
Yeah.
the Halfling and I are really our big fandom is Stargate SG-1.
Oh, it's so good. Yes.
Well, talking about fandom,
Yeah.
this is a great segue.
Yeah.
How does your fandom, your personal fandoms, how do they influence your writing?
Oh, man. So almost all the things I started to love as an adult, like SG1, Firefly, Buffy, man, I'm sure other things. They all have that snark, right? Like Jack O'Neill's snark is second to none. He is amazing. And I would say that, like that level of, we're going to have fun. Like things might get hard. We might be fighting some really overpowered aliens right now, but like, gosh darn it, we're going to have humor. Like we're going to make a joke, or we're going to do a thing, or we're going to make this feel like we are all in it together with the humor. And I would say that is a big influence on my writing. And also I have started to say in my bio, or my introductions, that I write science fiction and fantasy that ends in hope. I make no promises for the path it takes to get there, but we will end in hope. And I would say that is a very true thing. Of all the things that I have fallen crazy in love with and become pretty obsessed with over the years, it's always hopeful. It's not everyone is terrible and everyone will die and all of the things. It's hopeful. The world will continue to get better is what those stories say. And that's what I want my books to say too.
This is the Spaceman, and I approve this message.
Nice.
Talking about snark, have you ever read any of Robert Asprin's myth adventure books?
I sure have. Yes. Those are delightful.
Some of my favorite books.
Those are so good. I think I just unpacked a box with those in them, actually. I had a couple.
And that brings us to our next topic.
Yeah.
What do you know? Tell us about what you're currently working on. What can we expect expect in the near future from Marisa Wolf?
Currently, I am working on a novel with David Weber in the Honorverse, and the outline is, I think, about 5,000 words right now. So I think it's going to be a chonker of a book. I have the incredible and slightly nerve-wracking but very exciting opportunity to continue the Crown of Slaves series in the Honorverse that Eric Flint and David Weber did so beautifully. So I am taking that very seriously because it's not nothing to walk in the footsteps of Eric Flint and to walk alongside David Weber. So, but that is what I'm working on. That is the big chonker project that is ahead of me right now.
Yeah, we interviewed Jacob Holop, and he talked about how he, started writing and how David invited him to write a book with them. And I said, "Look, Jacob, I haven't written anything in like 20 years, but if David Weber told me I was writing a book with him, I'd say, 'Yes, sir. When do I start?'"
That's right. But whatever. Yeah. I'm in. He is Jacob is wonderful also.
Mhm.
Right now, though, I'm talking about David. Jacob is incredible. His wife is amazing. And David Weber is the kindest, most thoughtful, intelligent, ridiculously lovely human. They say, don't meet your heroes. And in David Weber, meet him. Like, if you can, he is so kind. He is everything 16-year-old reading on Basilisk Station Marisa would have wanted from an author. He's amazing.
The whole thing about don't meet your heroes. I actually met Robert Aspirin, whom we were talking about a minute ago.
Yeah.
I was a young man at the time, and he had just went through his one of his divorces. I did not know he'd been married multiple times, and Jody Lynn and I set me straight on
Oh,
that.
fair enough. Yeah. She is also
and
such a delight. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it was really interesting because it you have these people that you glorify, that you put up on a pedestal your entire life, and you're like hero worshiping in them. And then you're at a convention with them and you find out they're human just like you are.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful experience.
Yes. Yes. When I was 22 or 23, I met Anne McCaffrey at Dragon Con. I went to Dragon Con by accident. It's fine. It's the whole thing. But she could not have been more amazing. It was very brief, but man, yeah, I will love conventions forever anyway, but having the chance to meet these incredible authors and get to know that they're people and still really like them, that's pretty cool.
Okay. Now we have to hear about how one goes to Dragon Con by accident.
I am happy to tell you. So in 2003, one of my dear friends who I met doing fan fiction when we were both like 12 and 13 years old, she emailed me and she said, "Hey, Anne McCaffrey is going to be in Atlanta. Do you want to see her?" And I was like, yes, I do. And so I was teaching in Baton Rouge. I'm from New England, so I was much closer to Atlanta than I otherwise would have been. And she's like, "Okay, it's Labor Day weekend." I was like, "Perfect. I can drive down. I can spend a day. I can drive home and not miss any school." Wonderful. Because I think it was maybe my second year of teaching. It was not time to take a day off to go do delightful things. But so I drove 7 hours. These were the days of MapQuest. So I had my pages of hand printed directions, and I drove by myself from Baton Rouge to Atlanta through the wilds of several southern states. And I get to Atlanta and I made it. I was close. I was in the peach trees of it all. And and Darth Vader was crossing the street. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I came around a corner and there was and I mean, world class. If folks have not been to Dragon Con, the cosplay has always been out of this world. So a movie perfect version of Predator was on the next corner. And I was like, well, I had a mental break somewhere in Alabama. I was alone for too long and I have lost my mind. And of course, if I lost my mind, I would see characters from sci-fi shows. That's obviously what would happen. And so I pulled into the little valet area of maybe the Marriott. I don't remember where it was, but I get out. And the very sweet valet comes over And he's like, oh, are you here for Dragon Con? And this poor gentleman, I basically, like, I grabbed his arm, my knees gave out on me, and I was like, oh, thank God. And he was like, okay, you're just gonna want to go inside and we'll do this, because I was sure that I had lost my mind. And then I got there and I was like, this is a convention. I'd never been to a convention. Again, my dad is a huge nerd, but wasn't really big on conventions, so we never went. And I had no idea. So my first convention was Dragon Con. I went by accident. It was amazing, and I was so mad I had to leave the next day.
You know, the Vulcan idiom in Star Trek is infinite diversity and infinite combinations,
Yeah.
and you get that at a sci-fi convention.
You do. I love them so much. It's like coming home every time. I love it.
Marissa, one of the things that we try to do on our podcast is we try to help people who are getting started maybe in their creative journey.
Yeah.
So as part of that, would you mind walking our listeners through your writing process from conception all the way through the final manuscript?
Yeah. Yes. Oh, I love that. That's a great question. So it is different project to project, but usually what happens is I get a very clear character in my head. And it's usually a she, and she's usually a little snarky, 'cause who I am as a person. But first is that character, and she gets really, really clear. And then through figuring out what she's about and what's going on, I start to see, oh, this is the world that she's in. Oh, this is the problem. So I will start character, then world, then plot issue. And when I start writing, it's usually a bunch of chaotic notes. I'm not an organized outliner. Again, this is not always true. So for the work with David Weber, we have a very organized outline, and I'm super excited about it. And I have done a lot of co-authoring. And whenever I co-author, you have to have an outline. Like that is hugely important. If there's more than one person going on in your work, you need an outline. Mostly when I'm on my own, my outlines are chaos. It's just, okay, here's a vibe. Here's a thing that has to happen. I pretty much know how it ends. But usually, because those characters are so clear in my head, there is a point always in the book where they just go wandering. They are not doing anything I thought we were going to do. And that doesn't usually change the ending, but it often changes the path to get there. So I do not have a regular, I wake up at 8 a.m. and I write for 4 hours, and then I take a break and then I do that. It is very varied based on project, based on deadline, based on time of year. I don't know. If I've gone to a con. But I will usually break down what do I have to do to be done well ahead of my deadline, because I have not missed any big deadlines in my career, and that is my goal to continue. And I'm very deadline motivated. So I'll plan back from the deadline to think about, okay, so if I write 2,000 words a day and I take a couple of days off along the way, I will get done well ahead of my deadline so I can pause. Because the next piece that's really important is a break between first draft and edits. So step one, best advice I've ever stolen on writing advice from the world. I don't know where it came from, but the job of the first draft is to exist. That's it. It doesn't have to be beautiful and perfect. The messier it is, the better it's doing its job. It is okay for the first draft to be a little bit crappy, because then you go back in on that second draft, and now that you've discovered everything that needs to happen and you've written everything out, and you realize, ooh, the beginning is actually much lighter than the middle. I might need to make those come together a little bit better. Or this character didn't exist when I started writing, and she became real important by the end. So we gotta either foreshadow or introduce her a little earlier. So your second draft is to make it look like you knew what you were doing in your first draft. And I do like to have a big chunk of time, like at least a week. Sometimes it's a couple days, but I like to have a chunk of time between that first draft and then going back in that second draft, because it gives me enough distance to see where I missed things or I need to do more. After that, I send it off to people that I love, like Casey and Melissa, who love me and will both cheerlead, but also be like, girl, hey, this worked okay, but this is not the best. Or I know you can do this better, punch this up. And then I'll go through again, not the whole document usually just the parts they pull out, and then write around to make sure that it works still. And then I send it in for editing. So yeah, a lot of chaos, a lot of vibes, and then a lot of revisiting. Because again, that first draft, friends, I cannot emphasize enough, that first draft only has to exist. It's probably not going to be good. Mine never have been. So let them be messy, because if they are done, you can make them beautiful.
Good. And like a friend of mine told me once, you can't sell a blank page.
No. You can't edit a blank page either. So
That's right.
write
That's
it
right.
and then go back.
Speaking of writing and going back, how did you develop your writing skills?
Ooh, fandom. So fan fiction, I would say that's probably why I'm so character driven too. It was very much like you have your personas and you write your character sheets, and then you RP your characters. But I know there's that kind of throwaway theory, not throwaway, but that theory of you have to write a million garbage words before your words are good. Yeah, I wrote those in fan fiction. There was a lot. I did every trope you could do. Like there was self-insert, there was, it was all of it, all of it. So practice, practice, practice. Writing with other people has been huge for me. I level up every single time I work with somebody because they're always so talented and wonderful, and they learn something different. And then practice, practice, practice. I know I said this earlier, but the first stories you're going to write are not going to be good. Like there will be things that are good. Don't throw them away and celebrate that. But when you're just getting started, your voice might not be clear, or your voice might be amazing, but your execution isn't quite there yet. You just keep going. So the more you practice, the better you're going to be. So
The same I think is true about anything.
I mean, fair, yeah. This is pretty
Yeah.
standard
So,
advice, yeah.
but it's so easy to get discouraged when you don't sell a story for a long time, or
Yeah.
you don't seem to be getting better. So thinking about that, are you part of any like writers groups other than the Feral Ladies? Or and if so, how important is it to you and the development of your skills?
Yeah. I am not in any formal writing groups, but I have gone to Superstars writing seminar.
Hmm.
I love it. So it is not a cheap proposition. So make sure it works for you and your goals. And it is slightly more weighted towards the business of writing. But there are always, especially that first day, that Wednesday, there's a skills day. And it's taught by people like Jim Butcher and Kevin Eikenberry and Jonathan Mayberry and Gail Carriger, like all of these incredible, best-selling, so talented authors who will come and tell you how they write an explosive first page, or how they edit this thing, or what their character beats look like, or their planning. And that is incredible. That was such a value add for me. And then also spending time with all of the other attendees. So the instructors are top notch. But then all of the people who are attending, they range from people who have not yet put their first word down on paper to also best-selling authors who just want to hang out and like continue to refine their craft, or maybe step up their business side. And so just the conversations you have with people. A friend of mine had a conversation with an older, more established author at the bar one night where he was just asking her questions about her work in progress, and it dramatically changed a whole story beat that she was going to do. And it wasn't something she would have come up with without that conversation. And it was incredible. And everything else she did was incredible too, right? But that helped just dial it up. And so I love Superstars. I can speak so highly of it. And several cons that I have gone to also have writers' tracks where you can go and listen. And step one, thing to remember, if you are new in your career, even if you're not, the only good writing advice is the advice that works for you. So if you hear something and in your gut you're like, that, it's just not for you, that's okay. It doesn't mean it's not good advice, but it is not good advice for you. That is okay. Try everything, unless it's going to cost you a lot of money. In that case, see what it worked for other people. Be wise with your money. But try everything. But if it doesn't work for you, nothing is wrong with you. That advice just isn't for you. And on writers' tracks at cons or at writing conferences like Superstars, you're going to hear stuff that you're like, that's super cool, but I don't think it applies to me. And that is okay. do not beat yourself up or try to force yourself into that shape. But check out those writer's tracks. They're usually free at cons, or they're part of the overall con price. You've already paid. You're already there. Check them out. And you'll start to see, I really like how this person talks about story. I should read their books and see if that levels me up, because the best way to get better at writing is to read. So that is the headline of my advice. Read more, and then think critically at the end of the story, like, what really worked for me? And then how did the author say that? And that might mean for a little while when you're writing, you're kind of copying, but that's okay. Those are practice words, right? Like, go ahead and copy, because then you see how that works and then make it yours. So,
Good advice. Good
thank you.
advice.
Thanks.
Well, we're winding down the amount of time we have to spend together, but now we have to ask the most important question of the entire interview.
Oh, pressure.
Where can people find out more about Marisa Wolf and her work?
Yes, you can go to my website. It is www.marisawolf.com. I also have .net if you're feeling froggy, that's fine. You can go there. You can sign up for my newsletter. It goes out once a month right now, because that's what I can keep up with. And you will get 4 free stories for joining, and you will get my updates. Also, if you're like, no, thank you, please don't email me, I get too many emails, you can follow me on Facebook or Instagram. On Instagram, I am at bookdogs, because mostly I post about my dogs and my books. But so it's very creative. So you can follow me on Instagram, come hang out with me on Facebook, or go head over to YouTube to the Feral Ladies channel, and you can just keep up with us there, however you like.
I'll make sure to get all that in the show notes.
All the things.
All the things. So, Marisa, we want to thank you so very much for spending time, well, with me today, since the halfling is under the weather.
I know.
And I'll be honest, I had a great time chatting with you and getting to know you and learning about your creative journey.
Thanks. I had such a great time too. Thank you so much.
And I want to thank all our listeners today for joining us. I hope we've had a wonderful time and been inspired and entertained by our guest, Marisa Wolf. And this is the Spaceman for the Halfling and the Spaceman podcast. Over and out.